welcome to the first episode of the Cartoonist Consultant podcast. I'm your host, Zoe Zuzu Cartoon Sug, and I figured that if I was going to start a whole podcast on personal branding, I should probably give y'all my credentials. My biggest project today is They Have Issues, which is written by 18 female non-binary creators from 3 different countries. It contains 10 mini-comics all about working in comic book shops. It's probably my best-known thing, and kickstarted for about $7,000 in 2016. It's probably been the biggest project that I've had so far and definitely helped me grow my audience. As far as where my audience is, I consider myself a mid-level brand. I have slightly more followers than a couple of people that I know that publish with bigger indie publishers like Image and Boom, but I have, several thousand fewer than people that are really household names or that work for bigger publishers like DC and Marvel, or even just people on Instagram that have like some huge OC accounts. One of the things that we'll be doing together as I run this podcast is actually curating my social media. For now, I'm happy with where I'm at, and I did have to grow my account manually, but I could definitely be putting more effort into it and getting even bigger. The actual brand Zuzu Cartoons started August 2015 after my main account, which just used my name, Zoe Sug, got kind of overrun by the fans of Zoella because her name is also Zoe Sug, and it just kind of got to be too much attention for the wrong reasons all on that account. So I ended up just moving over entirely to Zuzu Cartoons and starting the website, and around that time was about when I dyed my hair pink, so I kind of just took all that and ran with it and rebranded in 2015. So we're looking at about, 3.5 years since I really started doing all that. And really for 3.5 years, I'm pretty happy with how fast I've grown and where I've gotten to be published and all that good stuff. I'm now at the point where I can get pro badges at several cons that I apply to. I've traveled pretty much all over the Midwest and west of the United States. I'm going to Emerald City Comic Con next month. After that is going to be Denver Independent Comics Expo, then Tucson, Arizona. I skipped out on Phoenix this year, and hopefully I'm going to LA after that. Not really sure what my later summer and fall is going to look like quite yet. But I'm at the point where people sort of know who I am, and I'm looking to launch myself into something bigger, either a project that people recognize me by and has a couple hundred, several thousand readers, something like that, or just getting published by a recognized publisher in the comic scene. I pitched a Top Cow last year, and that ended up falling through, but that was really cool. I'm going to call it an ego boost just because, I got to pitch to Top Cow and it was a really cool experience. And so kind of my goal for this convention season is just amassing more readership and getting to know more publishers, things like that. So yeah, that's pretty much just a quick little blurb about who I am and kind of where I am in my professional journey. I tend to get a lot of questions about how I start projects or how I, succeed at Kickstarter, all sorts of things like that, really. And I get those questions often enough that I figured it might be useful to people to start this podcast, talk a little bit about myself, motivate myself to kind of put some more elbow grease into things like my social media following, because that is something that all of us do need to care about. It's something that publishers pay attention to, but let's face it, it's no fun. So I thought maybe y'all could come along for the ride and we can kind of work on some stuff together. You can send in questions for me. And this entire podcast is just going to be professional tips for cartoonists. What's worked well for me, what has not. I have a ton of embarrassing stories to tell you guys. And overall, it should just be some time to really dedicate to our business practices because, as creators, we talk a lot about where our ideas come from or people that inspire us, things like that. But it's kind of rare, or the information is located in very disparate places, that we actually find something that talks about, let's talk about business licensing, let's talk about marketing, let's talk about whether or not you really need a website, all of that good stuff. And of course, I'll be posting resources along the way. A big one that helped me as I was doing my Kickstarter was Iron Circus's Let's Kickstart a Comic. That one's obviously invaluable and a pretty standard one for the industry. Most people tend to use it. So, I think it should be a fun time. Thank you for checking me out. Thank you for listening in. And the next couple of podcasts will probably be much longer than this one. I just wanted to kind of sign in here, do a quick little blurb, and thank you for checking me out. All right, everybody, this has been the first episode of the Cartoonist Consultant, and thank you for listening.